the roll to determine that we have a quorum of the board participating, and a note to all listening that a quorum is 7 members. Dr. Townsend Smith.
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton?
Here.
Dr. Oxendine?
Here.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Mr. Ford?
Present.
Treasurer Falwell?
I'm here, in and out.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Vice Chair Duncan?
Here.
Chair Davis?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Board members are reminded that it's our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this board. Does any member of the board know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. Board members, you've seen the agenda for this July 24th, 2019 meeting and had an opportunity to review it. Ask if there are any requests for changes to the agenda. If not, I request a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Oxendine. Is there a second?
Second. Second, Mrs. White.
A second by Ms. White. Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll to capture the vote on approving the agenda?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine?
Yes.
Ms. Kamnitz?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Treasurer Falwell?
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan?
Yes.
Chair Davis?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Motion carries. We have an agenda. Thank you, board members. I note for the record that the board will take a roll call vote on any item requiring action on our agenda. We'll now proceed directly to our committee meetings and begin with the Business Operations Committee. I'll turn to Vice Chair Duncan.
Thank you very much. We have one item for action on first hearing. Todd Chastain and I lead the committee. And in this instance, we want to turn to Sherry Thomas and to Eric Snyder, who have worked on a further contract with respect to the ECAS initiative.
Good morning, board members, Superintendent Johnson, and agency leadership here in the room at DPI. This is Eric Snyder, General Counsel of the board. Before you today is a proposed amendment to the department's existing contract with the Public Consulting Group, PCG, for the Exceptional Children Accountability and Tracking System, which you know as ECATS. This contract is presented for your review and approval consistent with the board's rule concerning contract procedure, CNTR 002. As board members will recall, the board worked with agency leadership this past winter to revise the rule, which went into effect in March of this year. It requires contractual obligations that would result in the expenditure of over $1 million to receive the board's approval. So in your materials, you'll see a negotiated amendment 4 to the ECATS contract. And in short, board members, the state wishes to purchase from PCG Tier 1 support for the ECATS platform. Tier 1 support is first-line technical support and customer service for ECATS users and administrators. This proposed purchase is consistent with technology recommendations made by EY in its report last year, and it expands the customer support that the state has already purchased from PCG. As you'll note in the materials, the annual cost for Tier 1 support will not exceed a little bit more than $2.3 million each year. However, because the contract conditions payments on the amount of Tier 1 services that are consumed, we expect that the year-over-year costs for Tier 1 support will actually be lower than that 2.3 million number. In addition, you'll see that the Amendment 4 not only outlines the new cost for Tier 1 support, but it also supplements the Amendment 3 to the contract, which was executed on June 28th, and includes not to exceed costs for the contract as a whole, which, including 2 more option years should they be exercised, would amount to $19,588,617, and also supplements the Amendment 3 by adding some release language as the agency makes certain payments to PCG. You will also note that there is a service level agreement document that's in your materials today, and that outlines details for the provision of these Tier 1 support services as well as other support services that the department will be utilizing from PCG. Michael Nicolaides and Sherry Thomas have spent a good deal of time with that document and have really gotten in the weeds with respect to the technical aspects of it. Attorney Philip Thomas was the agency's primary negotiator on it with PCG this past spring and summer. So many thanks to them for the work they've spent addressing the technical aspects of the SLA in this particular amendment, and many thanks to our partners at PCG who have also invested significant time in getting this Tier 1 support amendment negotiated before you today. So with that, board members, I'll pause to see if you have questions, but also turn it over to Sherry Thomas, who can provide any additional feedback on Tier 1 support and ECAT's project now. Sherry, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
No, Eric, I think you covered everything. I'm just happy to answer any questions or discuss anything else that the board may have concerns around this amendment.
Sherry, Ms. Thomas, this is Olivia. I have a question about, this is a very practical question that I see the venue for such a situation would, let's say, be in a school. Let's say ECAT has launched, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it launched last Wednesday.
So have you had any calls from EC directors about any technical problems with the launch?
I personally have had 3 emails in the last week regarding concerns with accessibility based on their user role. And that has been really the only calls we've received. Our EC delivery team has received multiple because they are the direct contact. But it's resulting in the feeds that, I'm going to try to do this as best I can. I'm not IT, but the feeds that have come into the department defining user roles based on the payroll information, so how folks are captured at the local level as far as their assigned roles. All that information was not necessarily accurate and up to date, but what's fed into our system through PowerSchool, basically, we assigned roles based on that. So there's work now going on to help the LEA clean that up. We felt like we had tried to put out there ahead of time enough information that folks might have caught that, but I think it's just places where a teacher's been in one school and then goes to another school in that district, but they didn't remove her from access to that previous school, or him or her. So long story short is we've had some calls, but it's not about the system, it's not about the functionality, it's about that user role type that's been really the only hiccup we've had.
Those are just administrative issues
Yes.
at the school and
Yes.
district level. I guess where I'm going with this, I'm trying to determine how would this contract have any positive impact on the kind of issues that have already come your way?
Yes, so there is a button on the desktop that is Zendesk, and that's the support help button. So think about being in a website and you're ordering something online and you have a question and you hit a chat button to ask a question about whatever it is you're doing, or you can't get something to process. That's how this serves. And so there have been requirements sent out to the LEA to designate at a top level in each district up to 5 people who would be able to submit those help desk tickets. So every teacher won't be submitting this. We want them to go through their internal process of checks and balances and problem solving before those tickets then come into PCG for this Tier 1 support. So it typically will be coming from the lead data manager or the lead IT. If they can't problem solve, then those are the questions that will be pushed through Zendesk to the everyone's support.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions or comments on this proposed contract? Not hearing any, Chair Davis, I believe that completes the items that the BizOp committee had.
Well, thank you, Vice Chair Duncan. Then we'll proceed to a vote on this matter since it's an action on first reading. Is there any other questions or discussion before we proceed to a vote?
Mr. Chairman, it's going to be, my key question is, one, really the vote is on the amendment, correct, since we voted the contract prior.
That's correct.
That puts in the up to amount, not to exceed amount, as well as some of the other pieces. Just want to clarify that.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And then I guess another question we could do afterwards is whether we have any other contracts we know of that have not put in and not to exceed amount, given that this one did not have that when it was first signed. And maybe that's a conversation for another day, but that's probably important for us to make sure.
Yeah, we can refer that point to the BizOp committee for consideration and, if necessary, actions on future agendas.
But
Yeah, well, we
Any other-
accept that responsibility.
Any other comments, questions? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve this amendment to the ECAT contract as presented in our meeting today. Is there a motion?
so moved, JB.
Okay, motion by Mr. Buxton. Is there a second?
Second, Ms. Camden.
Second by Ms. Camden. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dr. Townsend Smith, will you call the roll to capture the vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Chemnitz,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Treasurer Falwell,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. This concludes our work for this called meeting. Board members, thank you for your time today. I now ask for a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved, Olivia.
Motion by Dr. Oxendine and a second.
Second, Mrs. White.
Second by Ms. White. Dr. Townsend Smith?
Yes, sir. Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine,
Yes.
Ms. Chemnitz,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Treasurer Falwell,
Yes.
Vice Chair Duncan,
Yes.
Chair Davis.
The conference.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Yeah, motion carries. Thank you for your time today. Good work on this item.
Amy White.
Stand adjourned.
Has left the